Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. As always, I'm looking forward to spending some crafty time with you. Now today, I thought we'd focus on our challenge. So I know a lot of you are regulars, so you'll know about this, but if you just bear with me while I just give our new followers a little bit of information about the challenge. Now this month our theme is Time to Sparkle, and you can take that and use that and create a piece of work. And the idea is that you can enter up to 5 times and the winner is chosen at random. If you win, you get a £40 voucher to spend at Lavinia. Now, how fabulous is that? So this month's challenge, as I say, Time to Sparkle. So I thought I'd create a lovely floral design just because I love my florals. And I know a few of you've messaged and said you don't want Christmas every time I pop in. So no Christmas today. And I've got 3 different ways of adding our lovely sparkle. So on this, we've got some of our lovely Star Brights Vintage Shimmer Eco Glitter. So that's one way of adding sparkle. And we've got that here on our Wild Summer Flowers. We've also got some of our Stickles Glitter Glue. Another great way of adding sparkle. And we've got a sparkly Posca pen here because, you know, you just need that sort of sparkle in your life. And this is the front of the card. It's a 6x6. Now, as always, you know me, a little design on the back of the card. And I always think whenever I create the back and I've done it, I thought, oh, that actually would make a card design in itself. So I am going to actually have to do that for the front of the card as well for my next card. So again, not only have we enticed Mr. Mojo back, but we're giving ourselves homework. And the envelope, that lovely, I decorate this corner just because for me, if I'm putting it in the post, my postage stamp there, the address there, and it just looks a lovely cohesive design. All permanent ink, Posca, permanent when it's dry, so if that gets wet, it won't be a problem. Right, so I'm going to start, and the stamp I've gone for is the Fairy Catkins. Now, I love this, and this time of year for me, it's perfect. It's got 2 larger stamps and a couple of the smaller stamps, but I'm just going to use the larger stamp. And we're going for brown tones. And I'm starting with Pine Cone, the deepest of the colours. Do you know, ever since I had that cold, it is funny. What I mean to say is not what comes out. I don't know, have you ever done that? Have you ever just been unwell with it? I know it was just a bug, just a cold. But does it leave you with, you go to say one word and another word comes out? Or is that just me? Or are you going to tell me it's just because I'm getting older? Which is probably more like it. So, because I want to make sort of a corner design, I'm going to stamp this one 3 times. Now, I'm just going to concentrate on my topper for the card. But when I'm making these at home, and this one I'm going to pop this way just for that shape, I often stamp my topper up and then I stamp the back of the card and the envelope at the same time. And I'm just giving my stamp a bit of a wipe. For our new followers, for me, I clean my stamps just a damp cloth and then a dry cloth, just a cotton. Mine's called Inky Binky, just because I like to name things. And then I can peel my stamp off and put it back on its acetate. It just works well for me. I just don't like putting dirty stamps away. But like I say, that's just me. Now, the next stamp is on a set of 2, and I love this. It's called Seed Heads. And honestly, if you haven't got this, it's one of those sets that I think looks, I always say they're unsexy sets. It's a set that you wouldn't necessarily buy. But for me, I love the fact there's an open and a solid. So I can use them in conjunction. And this is quite tall. I mean, this you could actually use as a focal point. There's a lot you can do with these, you know. So I'm going to use the solid one, and I'm actually going to come in with my next colour. I've started with my deepest, and it's the Portobello. And I'm just going to add a few, and I'm sort of going to come in at this sort of angle. It's a very striking stamp. And then we're just going to put one up here. If you hear snoring, I will let you know it isn't me. Eric is fast asleep here. When I'm recording this, he's just had his lunchtime medication and he's just gone hard and fast asleep. So please bear with me. If you hear snoring, I promise it isn't me. And I'm just going to give that a wipe and pop that over there. And my next one is the lovely Wild Summer Flowers. And I've gone for the larger one. And I'm going to come in with my lovely light colour, the Sand Dune, or Sandra Dune, as she is now known. And I'm going to pop a couple of these as sort of focal points, but I want them sort of in the distance. Does that make sense? I think it's lovely to have that combination of light and dark. And again, if you look, I'm keeping that shape, but I need something just in here. So we'll maybe just have a bit of a one there. And it's nice to just have part of an image. There we go. Happy with that. I don't want to add too much. I don't want to overcook it. And then just at the base here, I'm going to come in with my field grass. And I'm going to go back to my deepest colour because I want to just bring it to the foreground. So back to the pine cone. They work so well, these lovely colours. And I'm just going to look for where I think I've got spaces, look. And we can do first and second generation, and that will give me yet another colour tone. Or I might just pop a third just in there. There's a little space there, and that just fills it nicely. And I'm altering the height of these. Just last little one, I think, there. And then we'll stop. Yes, I like that shape. I'm happy with that shape. And then I've got a lovely word stamp, and this is called the Fairy Spells. And what I like is on it, it's actually got the word sparkle. And with this being time to sparkle, I thought it was a lovely way of bringing that in. But look through your sentiment stamps. Now, I put an arrow on the back of each of my sentiment stamps, just in case, because, you know, before now, I've got to be honest, I have stamped the odd one upside down. I don't know if you're the same or it's just me. Now this, I'm coming in with Golden Meadow, just to bring sort of yellowy tones. Now, I'm going to use second generation, so I'm going to stamp it off. And I must admit, when I first did this, I did think, should I have brought the yellow in? But I just like it. It almost, I think it gives a nice tone to the brown. Almost livens it up a little bit, brightens it up a bit. Because I think brown can be a bit almost dark and depressing if you're not careful. So I've kept that nice shape there. And I like that. So again, we'll pop that to one side. And then we'll just give that a little bit of a blot. Just because I'm going to add some colour now. Now, you could leave it like that, but I just want to add a little bit of warmth to this area. So I'm just going to turn it this way. And we're going to come in with a couple of elements, and it's the Sahara and the truffle. I do like to use these two colours together. They work so well. So first of all, the Sahara. And I just need to grab myself a piece of kitchen roll, which is on the floor next to Mr. Eric. Just so that I can, if I've got any ink on my hand, I don't want to get it on my card. So I'll start in the corner and just go along the edge. And again, you'll get to know your ink pad. And I just want to go over the whole area where we've got that lovely stamping. And the Sahara is such a lovely colour for doing this. And the brushes, honestly, you know, I do get the odd comment saying, oh, you make it look easy. I don't make it look easy. It's the product. The brushes are just fabulous for this. If I lift that, look how it won't pick it up that well, but we've got this lovely sort of ombre here, and we can just make that ombre look even better. I'm just going to put the lid on the Sahara so I don't go in that by mistake, and then we'll go in the truffle. And when I deepen this corner here, that lovely ombre, a little bit up the side into that corner, a little bit along there. So I always mix it in the lid and then always start in this corner. And then when I've got less ink on my brush, just drag it to that corner and to that one. Last one, a little bit more in the corner. And look at that. And I think that just leads the eye away beautifully. So we'll give that a quick clean. So we'll spritz this, and I've moved my card away, because if ever you've spritzed with your card near, sometimes the water and the ink can just fly up off your mat. I don't know if you've ever done it, I have, and it just can catch your card. There's nothing worse than being really happy with a design like this, and then you end up getting spritzing where you don't want it. So we're going to add some sparkle next. So I'm just going to very quickly, just with my heat tool, give that a bit of a dry, because I'm going to come in with my lovely vintage shimmer. And this is the Eco Glitter, the Star Brights. And I'm also going to use the Zig 2-way glue pen. Piece of copy paper underneath. And then what I'm going to do is on my Wild Summer Flowers look, just going to put little dots with the glue pen where I want that lovely sparkle. Now, I'm doing this before colouring in the catkins, because I don't want the glitter to stick to the catkins. So sometimes you have to think about the order that you do things in. Sometimes, I've got to be honest, I don't know about you, but I am one of those crafters. Sometimes I almost have to do something wrong to then think, oh, I shouldn't have done it that way. Right, so while the glue's wet, we'll tip, and it's important, this is why I've got my copy paper underneath, and we'll cover that. Look at that loveliness. Oh, honestly. And we'll give it a bit of a tap. And then flick its bottom, and then just with a spare brush, I'm just going to brush the card. I don't want to use my Lavinia painting brush because I don't want to get glitter on it. So I'm just using a different brush, just a spare one. Now, the reason I've done this now is I didn't want, if I've coloured these in with my Posca, the glitter would stick to it. And I don't want it to do that. So I've added that lovely sparkle now. And then we'll just put all this loveliness. And this is the bit where you think, oh, don't sneeze. Don't cough, don't sneeze. And this really is magic, because there is always more to go back in this pot. No matter how many times I use it, I have to give it a good tap to make it go down. Otherwise, there's too much to go in the pot. And, I mean, the camera won't be able to pick up that shimmer, but honestly, if you saw it in real life, it's beautiful. So our next little bit of sparkle is this lovely sparkly Posca, and it's the yellow glitter. So we'll give that a shake. Now, the beautiful thing with this look is we can take our clear Wink of Stella and we can drag that colour. So if you want your Posca to last longer, some of them I'll colour in solid look, and some of them I'll colour in at the base, and then just drag this. Now, it will move, and it moves beautifully. Remember, your Posca is permanent when dry. So you can move it with water or with your Wink of Stella, which for me is just almost like a sparkly water brush. So some of them, as I say, I'll add full colour, but just for me it's a way of my Posca, because I use this yellow so much, just makes it last a bit longer. And you know, there's nothing wrong with being a bit thrifty. And also I love it because you get the different tones. I'm going to add a little bit more at the base there. Now, I may have some yellow on here, so we'll just, that's it, goes back to clear. So that's some more sparkle. And then the other one was our Stardust, our Stickles. So again, I'm going to add that on the field grass. Now, as you heard, mine suffers from wind. So I pop mine on my mat, and then I've got my old original Wink of Stella brush, which I've had for years, which I now use for my Stickles, and I'm just going to paint this on. And this will give me the lovely, lovely sparkle exactly where I want it. And also, I find it dries quicker because I don't put it on as thick. And also, again, being a bit thrifty. And I'm saying thrifty. I can hear some of you saying I'm tight. I'm not. I'm just thrifty. Do you know what? Look after those pennies. You can buy more crafty stuff if you do. So I'm just putting that, and I'm deciding exactly where I want it. And that I just want on my field grass. So a couple of little finishing tricks. And one is just with my white gel pen. And again, I just want to test it. So I use the back of the card. Don't ever look at the back of one of my samples, ladies and gents, because you'll see that's where I test everything. Well, I don't want to use a little scrap of card, you know, because I could use that for other things. So just these little white highlights makes all the difference. One more on there. We missed any? Can you see? That one maybe a little bit up there. Yep. Let's put a sentiment on from our sentiment stickers. Now, on my original, I've put flora and fauna. And I think I'm going to put clear your mind, because I think this for me is I would love to just be sat in this lovely little almost fairy floral meadow, and I can just, as the sparkles flow, I can just feel my mind just clearing. You know that time when your breath just gets deeper, just gets more relaxed, and you just think, yes, everything's fine. Because do you know what? We can't solve everything, can we? So sometimes we do need to just clear our mind and let the world happen. So, sentiment on there again, just positioning it with my scissors. This bit, if you don't like it, leave it off. My last little bit of sparkle is my lovely Posca. And I just want to bring some of these lovely yellow splats just into that white space. And I know some of you may say, Jo, you've left white space, but now you've filled it. I haven't filled it completely, but I just like that little bit of interest in the white space. Now the mini flutter, if you've got the little butterfly, I think a couple of little butterflies would look nice on there. But that's up to you. And what I love about these designs is you can just take them as far as you want, and you can just use them. Here's the original. And as I say, the whole point of this little play was to just introduce some sparkle. Now, don't forget, if you don't want to use your Posca, there's the gold Wink of Stella. That would work beautifully too. So I do hope you've enjoyed that. And I hope you enter the challenge. Please pop along to the website. There's a complete section for the challenge and have a look. There'll be the inspiration from the design team on there, just to sort of whet your crafty appetites. But also you can look at what everybody else has done. And if you're just feeling a bit fed up and you've just lost your mojo, as I say, I'm sure it'll come back if you just visit the website. So you take care, enjoy yourselves, and look after yourselves. Much love and hugs from me. Bye for now.